Hi guys, welcome back. This is now issue 80 of Build Your Own Back to the Future DeLorean. Okay guys, sorry about the delay. DeLorean this month has been a little bit of a pain, but it's all resolved now. So I received my delivery and I received parts 80, 81, 82, 83 as expected, and I also got a binder, but they forgot to issue the magazines that goes with these parts, so obviously I didn't have a clue how to build this because there's a lot of finicky parts in there, so I needed a magazine. Luckily someone on Facebook kindly said that they would send me their magazines and then I could return them. However, the easiest way around it was just to get a scan, so I've got them on my other screen here. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, I have got the instructions digitally through scans, so I can crack on with issue 80. And I've contacted them and they've apologised, and what they're going to do is resend me issues 80, 81, 82, 83. I can then take the magazines, and then any parts, I mean I may have some faulty parts, but I hope not. I don't normally, touch wood. But what I'll do is I will then return the parts, only the parts, back to them so that they can give them out to someone else. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on. We're working on the other side of the wing, the other rear wing, get that all together. So let's crack on. Okay, so I don't actually have a parts list because that page hasn't been scanned. However, we've done this before, so I could look at a previous magazine, but I think we'll be alright. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to grab my scalpel and then I'll crack open these parts. And there we have it. Okay, so the first thing it wants us to do is get part 80G, which is, so we've obviously got the side trims in this issue and a reflector, and then obviously the brackets and bits, and we've got lots of screws with this. We've got LP, AP, a very small piece of trim that they've put in the bag like they did on the last one. We've got some DM screws and some IP screws. Okay, so the first thing it wants us to do is grab the longer piece of trim out of the two, and then we're going to fix that to this part here of the rear quarter panel. Okay, now this is directional. If you put it in the wrong way, it just doesn't, well, you can put it in the wrong way, but it just doesn't sit right. There's a slight curve. I think you just see that on the end there. There's a very, very slight curve, so that is obviously going to follow the contour here of the wheel arch. So that pops in like so, and then using my new screwdriver, which I'm really chuffed with, we're going to use AP screws to secure that from the other side in these two holes here. So there's one. Obviously don't do it too tight, it's just enough to till you get a bit of resistance, because you don't want to strip the thread because we're going through plastic. Okay, and then that is that part of the trim nicely in position. I'm getting used to looking at the screen, my other monitor, to get the instructions. You know, it's weird without having the magazine. Okay, so next we're going to use the smaller trim, and again this is going to go on this side now, and the angled piece at the end again has got like a slight bend in. That is going to follow the contour of the wheel arch just there, so we're just going to pop that in with the locating pins like so, and then again from the other side in these two holes here we're going to secure that in with AP screws. So I'm just going to grab them out. So that is one in, and then I'm just going to put the second one in. Oh, and then we should have something that looks a little bit like that. I'm just going to adjust the focus for you because it's gone to autofocus and it blurs and goes all over the place. There we go. Okay, and then I need to open the next image. Okay, so next we want to we're going to take the red lens, and then that is just going to finally fit up the end there. Now, I got a little bit confused on the last issue because I wasn't sure if this was directional or not. Yeah, there's nothing I can really reference this on, but you just know when it's the right way. It just fits nicely, and it's flush between the two trims there. So we're going to pop that in there, and then we're going to secure that with two IP screws this time. And that's going to go in that hole there and this one here. And I need to change my screwdriver a bit because I think that is not quite the right size. Yeah, so that's one in. And that's the second one in. And then we have something that looks like that. Okay, and then lastly for the trim, we're going to take this tiny piece of trim from the bag, and then that is going to go in this very last hole just there. And I'm just going to test the fit. Okay, so this is directional, and what don't you just see that there's two like notches either side of that hole. One is longer than the other, and that will match the mold on there. One there's like a bit that sticks out from the side there. One is longer than the other, so for me that will go in that way. And if I turn this round, it just doesn't fit properly at all. So this is directional. Okay, so we're just getting the the focus right again there, and then again that is going to go in with a single IP screw. And that is the trim done. That's really looking good. Okay, so I believe that the IP screws are finished with now, because we've got one left and normally we get a spare. So I'm going to put them to one side for the moment. And then I'll just get the next lot of instruction. Okay, so now we need the brackets, and I'm sure okay, this is going to be a little bit tricky, because if I remember now, on the back there is codes like RR3, RR5, RR4, R1, RR2, RR3. So R1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But it doesn't actually say, it just says part 80F. What I could do actually, excuse me for a moment, I'm going to look back at the previous issue and see what order they went in, because I think that will help me get these in. Okay, no, I'm just being blind. It's in the other magazine it was white, the print, black the print, and you can't see this, but on this instruction it's actually white in colour. So I've just seen it now. It says it's marked RR5, which is this piece here. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this over. And the screw is going to go into the higher of the hole from behind. So that indicates that the locating pin will go obviously in the other hole. Okay, and then that's going to be secured in with an AP screw. So I'll just grab those. So pop that in, and then that is going to screw through. If I can get it lined up. I'm just going to get the screw on the screwdriver. And that is grabbed. Brilliant. So that is the first one in. So that one's marked RR5. Okie doke. And then we're just going to carry on. So the next one up here will be RR4. And I'm just trying to see the screw positions. So the screw is always going into the top hole. As you see, one is always higher than the other. So as we go around, this is RR4, so it's going to go in this hole here. And again, an AP screw. and then the screw will always go in the highest of the holes from behind. Like so. So the highest hole, then the screw. And then that is two of those parts on. Okay, and then the next one is marked RR3. And then that will go vertically there. Again, the screw will go in the highest hole. There we go, that's that one in, and then we've got RR2, which will go on the next one along. Again, that's vertical, and once again, you guessed it, the hole will go into the top of the holes. There we have it. And then this one is slightly different. We need this trim, this black trim. The holes are going to be at the bottom as you look at it, and then we're going to take R1, and then the locating pin is going to go in the right hand hole with the holes at the bottom. And then for this, we're going to use an LP screw. And they are slightly longer. So I'm going to line that up, and then we'll put the LP screw through. And then that will sit like so. And that is sitting at a slight angle. I'm just checking. Because the other side doesn't look like it is sitting at such an angle. Ah, it's okay. There we go, that's better. All I had to do was loosen that screw off a little bit, and then it moves. There's a bit of movement in there. So once that is relatively straight, we're then going to move on. And then we're going to put this into this panel here, this recess, obviously with the connector there at the bottom. And then from the other side, we're going to fix that with 2 AP screws, which will then leave us with 1, so we know that will be a spare. So that is 1 in, and I've just gone just so it grips. Don't push it anymore. There we go. And then that is that part complete. So we've got a spare AP screw. Actually, I've got 2. I've got an LP screw remaining. I will sort those out a little bit later on. Okay, so once that part is done, I'm just going to sorry for the delay. There was a page missing. There we go. And it's actually John Barker, if you're watching. Thank you so much for these prints. It's absolutely brilliant. I wouldn't have been able to have done this without you sending me these screenshots. So next we're going to be using attaching the panel to the car. So for this I'm just going to pop these screws to one side, put the blanket down or cloth, and bring the car over, and what I'm going to do is turn it around. It may be difficult to see, but we're going to be working in this area here, because obviously we're going to be placing this onto there. So to do this we need to put 4 screws in, and which is one there. I know this is difficult for you to see. Let me just give you some lights if that helps. Right, you've got a hole just here. You've got a hole just up here on there. And then we've also got a hole just here. And then there's one just up there. Now, little trick. I'm going to try this. Let me just see where they correspond to. So 1, 2, right, so it's the raised ones. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but I'm just going to move this for a moment. I struggled last time trying to get these screws through because they were such a tight fit, and it probably didn't help that I didn't have a decent screwdriver at the time. So I'm hoping that this screwdriver is now going to be my main answer. I'm just going to find the best fitting screwdriver for this, and that feels lovely. Now what I'm going to do, first time trying this, I've actually got a pot, an empty pot, and you can get these from vape shops or a model shop for paint, like a paint model shop, or as I say, e-liquid comes in these. And in here I've put some washing up liquid, and what I'm going to do, I think this will work quite well. I'm just going to put a small dab of washing up liquid in each of these holes that are raised, because that's where these screws are going to fit. And then we've got one here, and then one just there. And my model's going to smell like peaches. And then what I'm actually going to do for this is I'm actually going to screw these DM screws through the posts and actually get the thread cut in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one screw for this, and I'm going to do that on each of the posts. And I can already tell it's so much easier. And then I'm just going to do the last 2. And that is going in like butter. I don't know if you saw my last video, I struggled because they were just, the screwdriver was jumping. You needed a lot of force to get these in. And then I'm just going to do the last one here. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is discard that screw because we've used it to cut threads in all of the holes. So now we can use fresh screws. Okay, and then I'm going to bring the model back, and then in theory this should all fit into place like a piece of cake. So again, line that up, and then I'm going to put one screw through there, and that is absolutely perfect. No, that was easy, absolutely easy. I'm going to put one up here, again butter, and then the last two. And then finally, this one's a little bit awkward to get to, but it just makes it so much easier doing that previous step. It just makes it easier to get in there with the screwdriver. And there we have it, all done. And then I'm going to turn this over, and there we have the rear quarter installed. Okay, so that was issue 80. Again, thank you to, sorry, I need to, John Barker. Sorry, yeah. Thank you again so much to John Barker for sending me the digital copies of the magazines for this month. In the description below, I am going to put a link to this screwdriver set I've bought. I purchased it from Amazon, and it's absolutely fantastic. I really recommend this, highly recommend this. It's got about 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's got about 7 or 8 types of Phillips head. So there's something there for every screw, and it fits perfectly. And on the Routemaster build I'm doing, I completed the front suspension and I used the provided screwdriver. Now when I got this, I went back over all the screws and I had nearly half a turn on nearly all the screws. So where I thought they were really tight with the screwdriver supplied, I managed to with ease get at least half a turn with the metal screws. And obviously, yeah, it's a good tip with the washing up liquid. You can use this for any screws that end in an M. Anything from metal. It's no good on plastic, obviously, but any metal screws you're going through, if you're having difficulty, just a little bit of that, it will just help it go in. So yeah, that's it for me for this week. See you next week. It will be on time next week, 6 o'clock. So in the meantime, yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you to all my subscribers. And if you wish to, there's a link in the description below if you'd like to buy me a coffee. So yeah, until next week, take care.